Hello, and welcome to the second IndieCommerce training webinar in the Fall 2015 series. My name is Scott Nams, Customer Service Coordinator and Training Manager for the IndieCommerce program. So today we're going to be talking about order processing, and we're going to touch on some things that stores are probably already familiar with and a few things that stores may not be aware of. So the first thing we're going to talk about will be order statuses and order states. And what the statuses are called and what they do to an order, that is, what state they put the order in, is dictated under Store, Configuration, Orders, and Workflow. Now keep in mind, as we walk down through this page, we will not be talking about Ingram fulfilled orders, since those generally handle themselves, and we're going to cover those in another webinar. For this webinar, we'll be referring only to statuses that the store uses. Now, stores are generally familiar with changing order statuses to indicate an order's disposition, and in many cases to either charge a credit card or to close out an order. Stores are probably most familiar with the following: pending, processing, payment received, completed, and canceled. Now, a store can even add new statuses, but while there can be a lot of different statuses, the ones that a store uses all map to just 4 different states. And those states are post-checkout, payment received, completed, and canceled. So let's talk a little bit about these. An order is post-checkout if the order has been successfully placed and no other action has been taken. Post-checkout just means that the customer has made it through the checkout process and the order is now waiting for the store to act on it. The 2 most common post-checkout statuses are pending and processing. Payment received indicates that the order has been paid for in one form or another. If a credit card was used for payment and the order is changed to payment received, the card is charged and the order balance drops to 0. However, keep in mind, payment received will charge a customer's credit card, but the order is still open. And if you're using ABA's authorized.net account, that money is not released to the store until the order is changed to completed. So payment received is an open status. It will leave the order available for you to work on it. You can, once you've marked it as payment received, you can either complete it to receive the money, or you can cancel that order and the money collected goes back to the cardholder's account. Now, completed, of course, indicates that an order is done. Again, if a credit card was involved, changing an order from pending to completed will charge the card and release the money to the store's bank account. If a credit card order was already marked as payment received, changing it to completed will, again, permanently release those funds to the store. And canceled, of course, indicates that an order has been manually canceled by the store. Now again, while a store may see a lot of different statuses, either that they use or that the system uses automatically, you can see that the ones a store uses all conform to just 4 states. So why would a store have so many other statuses? Now, often a store will create different statuses to indicate to their staff that a certain order needs to be handled in a certain way. For instance, my store is going to be selling signed copies of a book, but the author hasn't come in yet, of course. The event hasn't happened. I still want to put these books up and make them available on my site as a pre-order so customers can order them and I can collect money for them and have them available when the author arrives. So I can create a new status. So I just come to the top of the page here and create a custom status. Now in this case, I'm going to have Stephen King. He's coming to my store. So I'm going to create an order status called King Pre-Order Paid. And what this means is that when an order for this particular book comes in, that's going to be a part of this book signing, my employees know that they're going to use this status. And down here, again, I'll call it King Pre-Order Paid. But the important part is the order state. When someone uses this status, what is it going to do with this particular order? I don't want post-checkout. That just means that the order is finished being placed, and now my staff needs to do something with it. When they change this status to King Pre-Order Paid, I want it to be payment received. So as soon as my employees put an order into that status, then the credit card is going to be charged and the money will be collected. So now I have my order status called King Pre-Order Paid. And again, when my employees use that, they mark an order as King Pre-Order Paid, I'll be able to sort through it. I'll be able to see at a glance which of these orders are paid for that particular event. And I can also be sure that that their credit card has already been charged. Keep in mind, if you create an order status like this that maps to payment received, you do need to remember to come back to that order later and mark it as completed. Orders that are marked as payment received and not marked as completed, the money will essentially sit in an escrow account waiting for you to decide what to do with that order, either complete it or cancel it. So make sure if you are using payment received, you want to make sure that you're closing those orders out. So let's go on to our next topic. In this case, we're going to be looking at a few elements of an order that, again, stores may not have looked into earlier. So we're going to go to Store and click Orders. So what we want to look at is the order logs and the invoice. So for this one, I'm going to pull up my order number 220. This is a typical order that's being paid for at the store. It's being picked up in the store. But I wanted to show you a couple of things. First of all, there is an invoice tab here. A lot of stores may have clicked on this already, of course, pretty self-explanatory. It's going to show you an invoice for that particular order, all the relevant information. There is also a link here for a printable invoice. Of course, you can print that out, put it in the box if you're shipping it out to your customer. And finally, you can email an invoice to your customer. Just drop their email address in there. Now, the other tab I wanted to look into is the log tab at the top of every order. The log will essentially record vital information about the order as it's being placed and as it's being processed. So just a quick look through the log here. You can see, first of all, this order took less than a minute to place. It was all done within the same timestamp here. And the customer, when they submitted, when they went to the checkout page and decided on a shipping method, in this case picking up at the store, the system added tax for that. The system will add tax depending on where the order is going. If it's going to the store to be picked up, if it's being shipped out of state, if it's being shipped within state. So as soon as the system understood what was happening to this order, it added the tax for that. And as the customer went through and added more fields and filled out more things, again, the tax just recalculates. It's the same number. Finally, we can see that the customer successfully placed the order because the order status changed from in checkout to pending. And that's how it becomes a pending order in my queue. After that, it was actually a few days later, it was a couple of weeks later, you can see that one of my staff came in here and entered a payment for Pay at Store. And when that happened, at the same time, the order total drops to 0, and automatically this order status is changed from pending to payment received. So again, the log will capture information about the order. It will also tell you which of your employees worked on that particular order or who took what particular step. Again, we feel it is very important for every person who has access, especially to orders, have their own login account for your website. That way, if several people work on a particular order, you can see who has done what. So let's go back to our order screen, our main order screen here. And we're going to look at entering payments and comments for a particular order. So in this case, we'll take a look at order number 233. Again, this is an order that's being paid for at the store and picked up at the store. So let's say my customer has come in and I have given them their book, they've paid for it at the register, and they've walked out. So I'm coming back to their order to clean it up a little bit and make sure it is settled in the right way. Now, theoretically, I can come down to the bottom here and simply change my status from pending to completed, and that will close out the order and indicate to me and my staff that this order is done. But before I do that, I want to put a few details on here. So what I'm going to do is go to the payments tab at the top of the order. And here we can actually enter a bit of information. So let's see what happens. First of all, when you come to this page, it's going to default to a few things. It's going to show today's date, October 9th, 2015. The payment method drop-down menu. Keep in mind, a lot of stores are confused by this. They assume when they see this that the customer has paid in this particular method. My site doesn't even have PayPal Express checkout enabled, but it's on my list of payment methods, and it just happens to show up here first. What I really want to do is choose Pay at Store, because that's how this order was paid for. Under the amount, I'm going to put $18.18, which is the amount of the order. And here I can even leave a little note that said paid in cash. Now when I click enter, it records that information and who made that change. But more importantly, if we go back to view the order, we can see that the order balance has now changed to 0. And when the order balance changes to 0, the order status is automatically changed to payment received. So the only thing left for me to do here is mark it as completed. Now, as I'm changing the order in some substantial way, and I'm closing it out, I can put a comment on my order to my customer. And I can also add an admin comment, which my customer will not see, but it will be available to my employees. But if I simply put an order comment on the order here in the box, my customer would have to know to log back into their account and come back to their order and actually look at it to see any comment that I've placed. So it's a good practice if you ever put a comment in an order, or if you're just changing the status on an order, also click the box at the bottom to send an email notification. This will email your customer directly to their inbox. That way they don't have to go back to their account and check on their order. They can see immediately what's going on. And I'll click update here. And there we go. And now under the order comments, you can see the original comment placed by the customer, and then my comment and the order status change. Now over here under notified, you can see two little check marks. What this means is that an email was sent out to the customer at that time. The first one is when the customer places the order. Of course, an email always goes out to the customer. And the second time was the comment that I placed on the order. And again, I can see here that the customer was notified. If the customer is not notified, that is, if the checkbox at the bottom has not been checked, you'll see a red X here instead, indicating the customer has not been notified. Now, another thing that I wanted to show you are payment profiles. When a customer uses a credit card to place an order on your site, the customer is given an option during the checkout process whereby they can either store or not store their credit card information in their account on your site. Now, when given this visible option, most customers will opt out. So let's take a look at a couple of orders where a customer has opted in and a customer has opted out. So we'll look here first. We'll take a look at number 239. And we can see this order has been paid for with a credit card. If I click the link here, I can see the credit card details, the last 4 digits of the credit card number, the expiration date, the card type. Keep in mind, there is no further credit card information available. No one, including ABA staff, has direct access to complete credit card information. This information is stored for us electronically and securely by a company called Authorize.net. So if I come down here to the bottom of near the bottom of the order in the admin comments, you can see that this credit card, when the order was submitted, was authorized and it was approved. When the credit card information checked out, the order was created through the website. This is a customer who has not stored their credit card information. The credit card has been authorized only, it has a pre-authorization on it, and only for this amount. What this means, if there is no other information here, it means that this order and this credit card attached to this order can only be used for about 30 days or about 4 weeks. After that time, the pre-authorization will expire and I will no longer be able to do anything with this order. If I needed to close this order out after, say, a month or so, I'd have to contact the customer and let them know. Also, if a customer does not store their credit card information in their account, you will also only be able to charge their card up to the amount that was pre-authorized. Anything less than that is fine, but you will not be able to charge the card for anything more than that. So let's take a look at a different order where the customer has stored their information. In this case, my loyal customer has placed an order. And let's take a look at this. Down here, we can see a little more information. This says Authorize.net CIM profile created. CIM stands for Customer Information Management. So this means we've created a profile for the customer and a payment profile for their credit card. This is a customer who has stored their credit card information in their account. The difference here is that I can reauthorize this credit card 2 or 3 or 4 months after the order has been placed. I can also add things to the order. I don't even have to ask the customer. I can now upcharge their credit card for a higher amount. So if a customer calls me and says, I need to add something to my order, can you do it? This customer, I can tell them, yes, I'll take care of that for you. The previous customer, I would have to tell them, no, I can't upcharge your card. I can't put anything else on the order. Now, a customer can go back to their own account. I'll show you in my account. If we go back to the account, a customer can go to their own account page. They can click on the billing tab, and they can fill out all of this information after they've placed the order. And if they save it, that information will become available to me, and I can use that information to charge their card, reauthorize it later, charge it for a higher amount, etc. Okay. Now, since we're here, and it sort of is the 800-pound gorilla in the room, I want to talk about this warning box at the top here very briefly. We're not going to get into it in a great deal. This warning box simply means that the ship to and bill to addresses are not the same. This simply happens to be an earmark of fraudulent orders. Fraudulent orders never or almost never share the same address. So anytime an order comes in with a different ship to and bill to address, we put this little warning at the top. You can click the link on the side here to read more about common signs of fraud and what to do if you think you have one of these orders on your hand. I thought I'd mention that since it is so obviously here. But in this case, let's talk about editing the order. So a customer calls me after they've placed this order, and they want to do something else with it. They want to add something to it, or they want to remove it. So let's take a look at the Edit tab. On the Edit screen, there's a lot of obvious information that you can change. There's a ship to address, If your customer has suspects that they put a typo in their shipping address, you can fix that here. If your customer calls you because they have tax-exempt information they'd like to apply to the order, you can fill that information in here. Again, there's a bill to address that can be changed, but keep in mind if there is a credit card associated with this order, we've already matched the credit card to this billing address, so you're probably not going to be changing that. It is also possible to change the payment method. Let's say I have an order that has a credit card. The customer has not stored their information. After about a month, if I go back to that order, even if I try to cancel it, I won't be able to. The system is still looking for that pre-authorization, the original pre-authorization. It wants to void it and then call it canceled, and it can't find that pre-authorization. So the system sort of stops right there. The solution to this, again, just change the method on the edit page from credit card to pay at store or some other in-store method, purchase order, house account, etc. And then click submit at the bottom. And that will change the payment method. Once you remove the credit card from this particular order, you'll be able to do whatever you want with it, complete it, cancel it, mark it as paid in store, etc. Now in this case, we want to add or remove something from the order, or add something to or remove something from. So first of all, we have a button here that says add product. And if we click on it, it gives us a little search window down here. So let's just search for a term, click search. And that's going to return a list of titles here. So in this case, we'll do, here's one of my favorites, and we'll select it, click select. It now wants to know how many, and the quantity here, I'm just going to say 1, and then I'm going to say add to order, and voila, and it drops it right in there. I can also remove items from the order if I just click the little red X button here. It removes that item. I can change the quantity here. Go down to the bottom and click submit changes. So I've made a few changes now to my to this particular order. Now, one thing that you should keep in mind is that as you are adding or removing titles from the order, your shipping theoretically would change to reflect that. In my case, if customers are ordering only one book, it'll cost them $4.95 for shipping. But if they add another book, there's 2 books in the order, it should add another 95 cents, and it should be $5.90. Now, of course, I can backspace over, and I can put $5.90. But if I've been adding some books, and I've been removing some books, and I've even changed my shipping rates in the meantime, and I sort of forgot where I was, all I need to do is come down here to this button, get shipping quotes, and what this does is automatically returns a list of all of my eligible shipping options. It will try to choose the one that the customer chose originally, if it's still there, and it will give me an updated price. So rather than changing this manually, I can just come down here, click Get Shipping Quotes, click on the appropriate one, and click Apply to Order. And that drops it right in there. Once you've made all the changes to your order, just make sure you click Submit Changes so you save them all. And then at the top of the page, just click View, and we can go back to the View page. So here I can see the order has been changed. I've removed 1 book and I've added 2 more. And my order total and my taxes and the total have all changed here. Now, let's say that I'm not done with this order yet. I'm going to add something else to it. I'm going to go back to Edit. And I'm going to add another product. Search. And in this case, we'll do this one here. And we'll select it. In this case, I want 2 copies. And I'm going to add that to my order. There we go. Now I'm going to come down to Get Shipping Quotes. I now have a new updated price, $7.80. I'm going to apply that to my order and then Submit Changes at the bottom. Now if I go back to the top, Click View. We'll go back to the page again. And again, my subtotal, my taxes, the total have all changed here. Everything is reflected correctly. Now, originally when the order was placed, the credit card was authorized for $48.21. But I have significantly changed that. And the order now will charge $66.31. If my customer has not saved their credit card information in their account, I won't be able to do this. I would have to call them and say, I need to take your credit card information over the phone, or you need to go back to your billing tab and you need to fill out that information and save it there. In this case, however, my customer has stored their credit card information. So what I'm going to do is reauthorize their credit card for the new higher amount. I just come to the top of the order, click on this great big gray button, Reauthorize CC. That just brings you to another page, so you shouldn't be afraid to click on it to see what it does. Here it wants me to verify the new total. And then down below, I can either charge the amount or I can reauthorize this card. In this case, I just need to charge the amount to this profile. So we'll say charge amount. And if I come down to the bottom here, you can see that the credit card was reauthorized and the amount was captured immediately. And the transaction has been approved. And that's it. And if I go all the way to the bottom, you can see now the system marks the order as payment received. So this order is still open. I can still cancel this and get that money back to the card holder, or I can mark it as completed. And you can see that the order balance drops to 0. And the order is now listed as completed. In this case, I did not send an email to my customer. Okay. Now, it is also possible for me to create a new order on behalf of an existing customer. And where we do that is here. We go to Store, Orders, and Create Order. Now in this case, I'm going to search for an existing customer, but I can also create a new customer account or create an order with no customer account required. In this case, I'm going to search for Here we go. It finds my customer down below, highlights it. So I'm going to say Create Order. And it puts me right onto an edit screen. Up here, I can select my customer's address. We'll do the loyal customer. Okay. I come down to their billing information. And again, I'll do loyal customer. And the payment method in this case is going to be credit card. And down here, of course, I need to add something for them to purchase. So I'll just grab this. We will select it. We just want one copy, and we'll add it to the order. Okay, over here we need to choose a shipping quote. So in this case, I'll do UPS ground ship. Apply that to the order. And now the system understands what's in the order. It understands that it's shipping. It understands where it's shipping to, so it can put all of this information together. So now I'm going to submit changes. And if I go back to the view page, I now have a new order for this customer that my customer didn't have to place. So an obvious question is, why would you do this? Why would you need to be able to do this? Well, let's say that an order has come in with 2 items on it. One is available right away. I have it on the shelf, but the other one isn't even due to be published for a couple of months. I don't want my customer to have to wait 2 months for both of these books. One of them is readily available, and my customer has indicated that they'd like to receive the first one as soon as it's available, and the second one whenever it becomes available. So what I can do is, with that order, I can remove the item that is not available. I can fill the order for the item that is available, and I can create a new order for the item that is not available. So that way the customer, I can process the order for their first book and send it out to them, and I can let the order for the second book sit until that book is ready. And again, your customer could do this on their own, but if you can do it for them, it takes a little of the work out of their hands. Okay. Now, just to remind you, the differences between completed and payment received. When you mark an order as completed, it is a done deal. If there is a credit card involved and either the credit card information has been stored or the order is under a month old or so, you can just mark it as completed, and that will close the order and charge the credit card and begin the process by which that money eventually gets to your account. But again, marking an order as payment received will charge the customer's card, but it does not close the order. It saves the money in an escrow account and leaves the order in a state that you can still cancel it from. Again, if you cancel a payment received order with a credit card, the money will go back to the cardholder's account. Okay, I'll click off of that. All right. And that is the overview of the order processing system within an IndieCommerce website. Again, a lot of this will seem familiar, but we just wanted to point out a few things that stores may not have been aware of. We do recommend here in the office that when you are when you're filling a credit card order, we do recommend changing the order first to payment received. I need to reauthorize the credit card first. I'm going to do this, structure into this profile. There we go. Now the order is payment received. Again, when I reauthorize the card and I capture that payment, the system automatically pulls the balance down to 0. And when the balance is down to 0, the order status is automatically changed to payment received. So again, we do recommend changing orders to payment received first. And again, putting the order in a state that it can be canceled from if necessary. And only after you're certain the order is done, it's on its way, the customer has received it, then you can mark it as completed. There you go. All right. Now that covers the bulk of the information that we wanted to go through here. We will have another session in another 2 weeks on October 21st. So we hope you can attend that. And we do thank you for attending this session. And we hope that this has helped. And if you have any questions, please feel free to contact us at staff@bookweb.org, and we'll be happy to answer your questions. Thank you very much.